You're meant to be a medical professional. It's disgusting the way you speak about Israelis. And this is the reason why we have no trust in organizations that you represent.
Tell me, what Netanyahu is doing? Do you like it?
I hate war. I hate
What?
war.
Huh?
War's horrible. I hate to see any innocent people killed, and that happens in every single war. I don't like war.
Yeah, but it's not a war. It's just like
It is
persecuting
a
the
war. I
young
know.
children.
I've got friends who've been killed there, so no, it is a war.
No, it's not a war. It's just like the aggression of
So if it's not a
of the.
war, who's killing the Israeli soldiers in Gaza?
How many of them are killed?
Over 1,000 dead now.
All right, and how many were killed from the other side?
The overwhelming majority were killed from the other side.
So they are like maybe 80,000 or something, right?
No, the death toll is around 60,000 Gazans killed. Israel says it's killed 20,000 plus fighters, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, etc. So you could estimate maybe around 20,000 of that 60,000 is Hamas. You're around the 2 to 1, somewhere between a 1-to-1 and 2-to-1 ratio at the moment of civilian to combat.
So listen, so there was 1,000 Israeli were killed who were soldier equipped with modern ammunitions and protection, right?
Yes.
And on the other side, there was killed 20,000 Hamas fighter who were who were fighting, and they were hostile, and they were having ammunitions. I don't know how much advanced they were. Okay.
Less advanced, but still advanced enough to kill. They've got
Yeah,
RPGs, rockets, etc.
and then there are like 50,000 innocent people, children,
No,
women.
40,000. 40,000. I ask you
Yeah.
one simple question, and I don't want you to run away from this. How many children?
Yusuf, I'll tell you. I work for Doctors Without Borders. I'm a doctor, and I work for the Red Cross, not in Gaza.
That doesn't surprise me with your views.
Hmm?
It doesn't surprise me that you work for these organizations with your views.
Yeah. So and I have first-hand, information from those places. My friends are working in Gaza.
I've been to Gaza. I've seen with my own
You're being
eyes.
to Gaza, and I can see from your face that what's happening there. It's just disastrous.
It is a disaster, but the question is,
it's a shame on the face of humanity.
The question is, it's interesting that we use words like that, because in 1 year in Syria, they had 130,000 people killed. The world barely noticed in 2014. The Red Cross wrote a tiny little Syria in 2014. Syria in
Where?
Syria
No, just
in
hold
2014.
on. I work in Aleppo.
Perfect.
So,
what year did you? I imagine you went over in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2014. Barely anyone acknowledged it. Amnesty International footnote. Red Cross footnote. Doctors Without Borders footnote in their annual reports. Go to the annual reports. We can do it now from 2014.
Yeah. Just see.
130,000 dead. 130,000. That's twice as many in 1 year.
Where was that?
In Syria.
In Syria, you mean? And between the Assad regime and the
between all
right?
the fight, all the fighting parties in 2014.
All right, okay, yeah. So still, MSF is working there. Doctors Without the Border. They still have operations there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, okay, when the conflict kicked off in its most bloody year, the world barely noticed. It had twice as many casualties. People talk about famine in Gaza. There is no famine in Gaza. There are pockets of hunger, which is tragic because there's difficulty distributing the aid. The United Nations is refusing to pick up aid. Israel's facilitated the movement of 1.4 million tons of food and 1.8 million tons of aid into Gaza.
You're very good with numbers, Yusuf.
Yes, because it's what I do. No, I'm a YouTuber. I talk about this. Is what I do. I write articles about this. This is my job.
Yeah. Are you paid for it, or
No.
So what you do for a living?
So for a living, I am basically living off savings. I moved to Israel. I used to work in high tech, and I made
Okay,
money
we're
in high
in
tech
America.
in the UK. And we moved to Israel
Oh, you
after
were in the
October the
UK. Okay.
7th. We moved to Israel after October the 7th. Um,
Okay.
and here I do videos full time. And
All right. Okay.
yeah,
And what's your channel name?
Israel Advocacy Movement.
Israel Advocacy Moment. Okay. And do you condemn what when Netanyahu is just not going for the peace?
It's the opposite. Netanyahu has said yes to the ceasefire, and Hamas are continuously turning them down.
Where's Hamas? I don't know where's Hamas. There's no Hamas.
So, who's killing the Israelis? Literally, who like they're being killed every day.
If you're killing civilian, they have to throw stone on you or just a
So it's
bullet to.
stones that are killing them. Okay, this is why nobody takes your organization seriously, because you're so disgustingly biased.
No, no one is. No one is.
You've
No one is.
literally, I've just told
No
you, I
one
know
is
people
biased.
who've been killed in Gaza. I've told you that. I know soldiers who've been killed by Hamas, and you've said what? By children throwing stones. It's disgusting.
Look,
You're meant to be a medical professional. It's disgusting the way you speak about Israelis. And this is the reason why we have no trust in organizations that you represent. And you've just told the internet you represent. You said proudly, I work for these organizations. Who's killing you? Children with stones. And now
yeah,
you're
no, listen
smiling.
to
You're
me.
meant to be. You took the Hippocratic oath, and somehow you seem to find it. You find some sort of joy in seeing dead Israelis. You're sitting there smirking on the internet at an Israeli who's told you he's lost friends in this conflict, and your response is to smirk and tell me who did it. Children throwing stones.
Now, listen to me. Yusuf, my friend, he lost. It's 9 or 10 nephews on one strike.
Yeah.
And
And if
he's a
my
doctor.
response to that was to smirk at you and said, who did that? Did a bird fall on his head? You would say that's disgusting. And that's the behavior that you're
No,
exhibiting.
this is now disgusting.
Your behavior is
know,
disgusting. I've not smirked at any suffering of Palestinians. I've not smirked at the loss of lives of innocents. You're the
No,
you're the
I'm not
doctor
smart.
who's.
I'm not.
It's
I
literally
didn't
you've
smoke.
been on
And
camera smirking,
apologize
making snide comments, making snide comments.
if
Who's
you get
you?
this notion that I smirk on the killings. I
You
would
literally.
never
It's
smirk
not
on
just
that.
smirk. You said it. You said who killed him? Children throwing stones. Your words,
I'm just
Mr. Medical
asking.
Professional. No, you're
No,
not.
I'm
You're
just asking,
trolling.
guys. Like if someone is civilian and his whole family is wiped out.
That's horrible. That's tragic. That's sad. That's why war is
Yeah,
horrible.
and let's see.
But I'm not
And let's
mocking
say
that. You are the one who's mocking.
one person is left behind. He has no affiliation whatsoever with any organization. Let's say Hamas. What he will do? He will get ready to fight, and this I think the collateral damage. Which you get, and
They've been slaughtering my people, the Arabs in this land, since the
that's wrong.
1920s. So it's
That's
got
wrong.
nothing to do with this is just the latest round of violence. This is the latest round of violence. We've been killing each other for too long. But what's disappointing in you is you presented yourself as a humanitarian, a doctor, someone who works with organizations like the Red
No,
Cross.
I'm not. I'm not here. I'm just. This is my free time. I'm not representing
No, but
any profession or anything. But it's just. But when you told me you're a YouTuber and high tech, I told you I was a doctor, so that's why.
No, but that's what's disappointing for me. What's disappointing for me is you ridiculed the murder of Israelis, the killing of Israelis. I didn't ridicule the killing of Palestinians because I genuinely believe that the deaths of civilians in Gaza is tragic. We will blame different parties for that, but a child is a child, whether they're Israeli or whether they're Palestinian.
Well, so I'll tell you. If someone goes to war with helicopters, with aircrafts and bulletproof, what they call artilleries and all those things with modern ammunition. If he is killed, I think he was prepared for that because he he pledged to go to the war and and be part of the war. But if someone who is killed as an innocent child or a pregnant woman, that's a disaster
And this is
from
why
any
I
side.
am
I don't
so
care if that's
relieved.
Israeli or Palestinian.
This is why I am so relieved that we no longer live under the rule of people like you. Because on October the 7th, Hamas launched a war, carried out the
That's you
biggest
know
massacre of
if you're
Jews
telling me
since
if
the
you're telling me
Holocaust.
if you're telling me that's wrong,
No,
and
I'm
that's
telling you more than
every
that. I'm
there is
telling you
no
more than
words
that.
there is no word to condemn that.
I'm
That's
telling you more than that. It was the
absolutely
biggest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. They then kidnapped our people and took them into Gaza and launched a war. We went in to try and release our hostages. There would not be one dead civilian in Gaza if the civilians had been able to leave like they can any other war. You said you were in Syria. There were 6 million refugees left Syria. Innocent women and children that didn't want to get caught up in the fighting. In Gaza, the border was locked and they weren't allowed to leave. And they were forced to live in a war zone, which is one of the most densely populated places on earth, with one of the highest percentages of under 18s on the planet. They were condemned to live in a war zone. And Israel went to incredible measures to minimize civilian casualties. But it wasn't enough because civilians still died. And that's tragic. But their deaths are on those that started the war, those that refused to accept any ceasefire. To this day, they're refusing every ceasefire, still holding our people, still holding them in tunnels and forcing them to dig their own graves, literally on camera. And then I log on here and I have people like you making snide comments about, oh, were they
no,
killed?
that's wrong. That's what happened October the 7th. It's just like disaster, but but that doesn't justify anything to kill 60,000 innocent and
So,
civilian.
can you name another military in the history of any military campaign that's facilitated the movement of over 1.8 million tons of aid, that's made millions of phone calls, dropped millions of flyers warning civilians to leave because no one's letting the civilians out? So, what Israel has to do is empty entire neighborhoods before they go in and fight Hamas. They create safe zones, they draw maps, humanitarian corridors. You said you're a doctor. They vaccinated millions of Palestinians living in Gaza during the
No,
conflict.
listen to me. Listen to me. Where when when it was a 12 days war between Iran and Israel, so they killed I think 20 or 30 top generals and scientists, and there was no civilian casualty in Iran. So how did it happen in Iran and then that's not happening
Because
in Gaza?
The Iranian operation, just like the Hezbollah operation, was proactive. Israel had been planning this for years. They'd infiltrated every level of the Iranian government. They'd infiltrated every level of Hezbollah. They'd infiltrated the supply lines. They had drone factories in Tehran building drones ready for this moment when they're about to strike. They'd been coordinating it with the Americans for over a decade. The opposite is true in Gaza. In Gaza, Hamas attacked us, caught us off guard, stole our people, and put them in dungeons in a network of tunnels under Gaza, which dwarfs the London Underground. It is so complex. The reason the casualties are
Is
so
it
high
is
in
it
Gaza,
complex for is it complex for the Israeli military
yes, it's very
to
complex. There are over
okay.
5,700 tunnel shafts they've uncovered. Every when they're going into neighborhoods, entire buildings, streets are booby trapped and coming down and falling and exploding on Israeli soldiers that are going into them. The reason why so many buildings have been destroyed is because Israel can't afford to lose any more troops to ambushes from tunnels and ambushes from booby trapped buildings. That and that's another thing that shows that Israel's trying not to genocide. 70% of the buildings have been damaged or destroyed. If 70% of the people that were in those buildings, there would be 1.4 million dead Palestinians. There isn't. There's 60,000, which shows Israel's intention is not to kill Palestinian civilians. Tragically, far too many civilians have died, but that's because they've been locked in a war zone and used as human shields. It's not in Israel's interest to see dead Palestinian children. It is in Hamas's interest because people like you will go out and do their propaganda and promote their cause and defend
No,
them
I'm not.
and make
I'm
light
not
of
doing
dead
any propaganda.
Israelis.
Listen, that's wrong. I don't take this that I do a propaganda. I'm against all kind of wars. and just tell me. I'll tell you one thing. One day this war will finish. Okay,
Inshallah.
and I hope so. It will be soon.
Me too.
Okay, yeah, and the war will be not a unipolar war. Okay, it will be, there will be regional powers. There will be regional powers in Asia. There will be regional power in America, and there will be regional power in Middle East. And there will be no support of the America to the Israel.
In
And I hope
1948,
this.
so this was in 1948, the British Empire, which was the global hegemony, supported the
Yeah,
Arabs. There was an arms
they
embargo.
supported the Arabs,
Yeah,
or they supported the
they
Israel.
supported the Arabs. They armed the Arab Legion. They had John Bagot Glubb, who headed the Arab Legion. He put British troops in front of it. They gave the Arabs, the Egyptians, the Jordanians the best weapons they could, and they
Yeah,
invaded. And they
but
in five.
that didn't train them.
No, of course they trained them. The Arab Legion was trained by the British. It was the best trained military in the Middle East. and
Okay.
and five Arab armies that were backed by the global hegemony invaded Israel, which at that point was a bunch of refugees from the Holocaust and from the Arab world. And
Mhm.
those refugees, without the help of America, without the help of Britain, without the help of anyone, defeated five Arab armies, five Muslim armies, including the Arab Legion, including Egypt, including Syria.
Okay.
And that was then. Today, it will be either Israel is the Middle Eastern hegemony. We have a free reign to fly over Tehran and do what we want. If we wanted to genocide the Iranians, which we do not want to do, we could do that. If we wanted to genocide the Palestinians, we could do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We don't want to nuke people. We don't want to kill people. We want to live in peace, which is why we are for the Abraham Accords, which is why we will accept peace with anyone that makes peace with us. The Palestinians have turned down every single two-state solution. We've said yes to almost every single two-state solution.
Do you agree for the two-state solution?
I used to, not anymore. I advocate for Jews and Arabs coexisting here, but not a two-state solution. I think that would lead to perpetual conflict and war.
Why were you wrong at that time when you were
Yes, I
advocating
was
for
wrong
that?
when I supported a two-state solution. Yeah.
All right, okay. And there are Jews who are still looking for two-state
I
solution?
think the overwhelming majority of Israeli Jews no longer support a two-state solution. But the overwhelming majority of Arab Palestinians also don't support a two-state solution.
So, so what's the solution to tag them out of the Israel, and then
So in Israel,
get.
there are 2 million Arabs who have complete equality with Jews. They're in the government. Arab judges have sent Jewish prime ministers and presidents to jail. In the Palestinian territories, there isn't one Jew because Jews are banned from being Palestinian by Article 6 of their national charter.
Okay.
So I like the Israeli model, which is
Oh,
coexistence. I don't like the Palestinian model, which is ethnic cleansing.
okay. I don't know those fancy words. Sorry, but it's a okay.
So I'll say it in
So,
English. I'll say it in plain English. I prefer the Israeli model where Jews and Arabs have equality under the law. I
because
don't like the Palestinian model, which is the Jews were thrown out and banned from being citizens.
all right, okay. I'm sorry. I took a lot of your time,
It's
and
okay.
then
I did get a video out of it in the end, so I'll definitely be putting this on the internet.